Here's the Daily Spurs News Roundup with me, Harry Scarfe, providing you the latest Tottenham headlines in the last 24 hours, including full analysis on every story that comes in the second part of the video. If you're new to the channel, please do smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and get involved with the comments below with any of the stories discussed today and any of the opinions that I put forward. So let's get into it. First part of the video is those headlines of the Premier League, in Tottenham, in the last 24 hours. So let's get straight into it. Firstly, the Daily Mail report that Savinho's agents are bound for Europe in a bid to secure the transfer he wants from Manchester City to Tottenham Hotspur. Daily Mail report that Tottenham are inching closer to a deal for Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze, but are not yet in agreement though with the South London club. Next, Thomas Frank was asked by Alistair Gold on what he's learned about his Spurs players. Frank said, "One thing is the mentality of the group, very strong mentality, and we saw that against PSG, the way they worked and they approached to it. Also the ability to take on messages and game plans." Thomas Frank was asked about Matthias Tel facing racist abuse. Frank said, "We're supporting him. There's no real Tottenham supporter that would ever do that. I expect the fans to give him a really, really, really big cheer tomorrow." Thomas Frank was asked on whether he had butterflies in his stomach for his Spurs home game. Frank said, "I will have tomorrow. If I'm honest now, I'm in work mode. I know when I wake up tomorrow and when I step into the stadium, I will feel it." Frank has described Richarlison's UEFA Super Cup final performance against PSG as phenomenal. He said his hold-up play, his intensity, his arriving in the box was top. And his attitude, top. Of course, we're aware of his fitness situation. This is why we have monitored him closely. That's why he didn't play Reading, but he's on it. Charles Frank said that Yves Bissouma will return to the Tottenham squad for the Premier League opener against Burnley after being dropped in midweek. Frank said, "Bissouma was a situation, I addressed it. There was a consequence. He'll be in the squad tomorrow." Thomas Frank has confirmed that every player who is available is also available for Burnley on Saturday. Destiny Doggy is progressive. It's too early for him to be involved in the squad. Next, a report from Global states that Tottenham have now promised Manchester City a new offer for Savinho, which will be formalised and presented soon. While the negotiation is seen as complicated due to the high sums involved, all parties view more positively. Next, Mail Sport report that Thomas Frank wants to sign both Eberechi Eze and Savinho. Is not a case of one or the other. Eze and Savinho have different profiles and would fill different roles in the squad if they manage to secure both of them. Next report from Daily Mail states that Savinho is agents are understood to be bound for Europe in a bid to secure the transfer he wants from Manchester City to Tottenham. The Moras, who's the pro manager, left Brazil on Thursday with a view to further negotiating this week in London. Next, BBC report that Tottenham Hotspur remain in talks with Crystal Palace over a deal for Eberechi Eze and actually inching closer now to an agreement. Arsenal have showed an interest in Eze, but at present the forward looks most likely to end up at Spurs. Global, a report that Savinho remains keen on completing the transfer to Tottenham. He wants a bigger role and more minutes before the World Cup next summer. All parties are optimistic that a move will be finalised. Spurs' latest bid was €70 million, but his agents confirmed Manchester City want €80 million. Next, Football London report that Fabio Paratici is expected to eventually return in a more official capacity at Tottenham. Football London report that Tottenham will try and tie up a deal for both Eberechi and Savinho in the days ahead. "We are looking in the market," the words of Thomas Frank, who says Tottenham Hotspur are in the pursuit of a number 10 to add to the squad. Next, Fabrizio Romano via the Here We Go podcast said that Thomas Frank is really pushing for Spurs to sign Savinho in particular. He believes he can do big things in the Tottenham project. In recent days, Spurs had a bid of just under €70 million rejected. Tottenham remaining conversations to sign the player and will try right till the end. Thomas Frank says Yves Bissouma will return to the Tottenham squad for the Premier League opener after being dropped in midweek. Also, we got Sky Sports report Hincapie has a release clause in his contract for around €60 million this summer. Next, Pep Guardiola was asked about Savinho, and he said Savinho is injured from a Palmero. He'll be out for a few weeks. He's extraordinary, but at the end, as always, the desire of the player prevails above everything, and after there has to be an agreement with the club. If you don't take an agreement, the player will be there. Daily Mail report that Roma have made contact through intermediaries over a possible deal for Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Yves Bissouma. A deal is dependent on whether Roma sell Manu Kone this summer. Clubs in Turkey are also interested in Bissouma. The Athletic UK report that Thomas Frank had a call with Morgan Gibbs-White, where Morgan Gibbs-White actually apologised to now current Tottenham manager Thomas Frank and how the transfer saga played out. Next, a report from The Independent states that Tottenham Hotspur is still understood to be at least £7 million off Crystal Palace valuation of central attacking midfielder Eberechi Eze. Change for Tottenham have confirmed there will be a protest ahead of Tottenham's first home game of the Premier League season against Burnley. 3pm kick-off. The protest will be 1:30pm. Next, Fabrizio Romano via YouTube says that Savinho's agents are in England. The deal is not easy, but players very keen. Talks continue to be ongoing. Luka Vuskovic will wear the number 16 shirt and Kota Takai will wear the number 25 shirt this season. Next, a report from Manchester Evening News states that Tottenham did do due diligence on Manchester United winger Alejandro Garnacho, but then decided to pursue other options. Next, Football London reports that Tottenham contacted Thomas Frank just a couple of days after the final game of the season against Brighton. Tottenham have confirmed their 25-26 Premier League season squad numbers. Number 1 is Vicario, 3 is Dragusin, 4 is Danso, 6 is Paulinho, 8 is Basuma, 9 is Richarlison, 10 is Maddison, 11 Tell, 13 Udogie, 14 Gray, 15 Bergvall, 16 Vuskovic, 17 Romero, 19 Solanke, 20 Kudus, 21 Kulusevski, 22 Johnson, 23 Porro, 24 Spence, 25 Takai, 27 Solomon, 28 Audebert, 29 Sarr, 30 Bentancur, 31 Kinski, 33 Ben Davis, 37 Van der Ven, 40 Austin, 44 Scarlett and 46 Luca Gunter. Next, a report from Football London reports that Spurs used data to identify 50 different coaches that would suit what they were looking for, including hypothetical candidates that weren't available. Then to narrow down the options, they drew up a 10-point list of criteria, 3 of which were playing attacking football, developing young players, and good communication skills with the media. Once the criteria was also applied, they were left with 4 options, all of whom had meetings with the club. Next, Paul O'Keefe reports that Tottenham have identified Piero Hincapie as their favourite left-sided centre-back. Appreciation any deal will be difficult as it involves a larger fee, and the manager of the club does see him as an ideal candidate for Tottenham's centre-back pursuit this summer. So that is your daily Spurs headlines in the last 24 hours. So let's go through and discuss them. We'll pick out the majority of them, but mainly the key ones. We'll start with Daily Mail's report that Savinho's agents are actually bound for Europe. They're going to want to secure the transfer. That's really positive news. There hasn't been too much new news on Savinho in the last few days, which has worried a lot of Spurs fans on social media. Savinho would be a really good addition to the Tottenham side, could offer a lot. It'd be great to see a side attack 21-year-old player from a top club, something that doesn't often happen regarding Tottenham signing a top player from a top club. That's rare. Mail Sport really positive for both reports, saying we're close to Savinho, but also saying with Eze we're getting closer, but not yet in agreement with Crystal Palace. Frank saying he's learned about the mentality of Spurs group. You could see that against PSG, although we collapsed. It was a very strong, defensively disciplined kind of mindset, attitude and whole approach. Good words from Thomas Frank on Matthias Tell, of course. I say it again, that racist abuse is absolutely abhorrent, and no Spurs fan is a Spurs fan if they send Tell racial abuse. That's absolutely not welcome there. The keyboard warriors, as far as I'm concerned. Yep, Frank's first home game against Burnley. I'll be there as a season ticket holder. Looking forward to seeing us play. I think we'll be a little bit tired from PSG, but a big moment for Thomas Frank, who speaks very well about Richarlison. Richarlison's the player we just assumed would be out the door, but there was possibility. Could he work under Frank? And you'd argue at the moment Richarlison should be our starting striker. Not so like his fault because he's been injured, but Richarlison simply offered a lot. He hasn't shown it that much, but he showed us against PSG that Richarlison is at least going to offer Solanke some kind of competition. Frank confirmed that Basuma will be back and saying the necessary action has been taken. I like that, not over the top, but a much necessary punishment. You can't be late that many times for a new manager. So that's a good, outcome and a good decision for the club. What else have we got? Every player's available too early for a doggy. So no surprise there. That's what I mean. That's why I think we need to sign a full back in the window for me. Ideally, not priority, but ideally. Hopefully Spence plays there rather than Davis. Spence done really well there the other day. So, yeah, lots of reports about Savinho in general. It's good to hear the Daily Mail report that Frank wants both Eze and Savinho, not one or the other. That's critically important. Him not taking on and kind of accepting one or the other. We need really both at this football club. What else have we got? Crystal Palace, stuff with Eze. Arsenal showed interest, themselves seem to be leading the way. Still, it looks like a €10 million gap in valuation if you believe the reports for Savinho still, which is obviously quite a bit of money. Good to hear from Football London that Paratici will return in more of an official role. I'd argue he should replace Johan Lange or waste his place. He is good that we're going to try and keep going for Eze and Savinho. Frank acknowledging we're in the market for a number 10. Very open about that. I mean, I want Savinho and Eze, but even one of them is good. Just two of them would be great and ideal. When you finish 17th in the Premier League and want to avoid history repeating itself, then you go and get Eze or Savinho to stop that from happening. That's what I mean. You go for two quality players if you have on the table, not just one. You go for two, especially because they're different positions. Frank, though, apparently really wants Savinho at the club. Hincapie is a really good shout. Amazing player, amazing defender. Will he be tempted by a move to Tottenham? Is the question here. Release clause, €60 million is that report there. We've got others, haven't we, saying that we've identified him as a primary target, but seem to view the deal unsurprisingly as optimistic. Do you believe that Savinho's out injured from Palmeiro and he'll be out for a few weeks? Or it's a bit of a bluff, which he's very good at doing, by the way, from Pep Guardiola? Not sure. Basuma, I think, is an absolute sell-off, especially after being late several times and already been disciplined under new manager Thomas Frank. Has to be some kind of concrete punishment in there. It's so poor for him, so we should be moving on. I think might be cutting our losses with that one. I thought at the time we got a good deal with Bryant, but it doesn't look like to be the case. Interesting, the Athletic UK report that Gibbs White decided to call Frank to apologise for how the transfer saga played out. I get the feeling that Morgan Gibbs White didn't have too much of a say in this and was forced by Maracus, but that's just what I believe. I don't think he was forced to put pen to paper, but I think it's a very look, you should sign, you need to sign kind of thing. So, still reports about big gap in valuation. Change to Tottenham protest, I fully support that. I'm caught in two minds. As much as I want to challenge the club and the hierarchy generally, but especially to have a good rest of transfer window, are we not best to try and wait till the end of the window when we can judge the window? It's difficult which way to look at that. Alejandro Garnacho, due diligence done for him. I mean, I think it'd be a good sign and definitely better out there, but I think he deserves better than what he's currently getting, which is no Premier League football at all. And Manchester United, all but certain, wants to leave. What else we got? Interesting if it's true that Thomas Frank was contacted by Tottenham within 2 days of that last Premier League game, which shows they really do like him and he was top or near the top of their ideal list. We've got the confirmed squad numbers. I really like this from Football London. So the Spurs used the data to identify 50 different coaches that would suit the system, including hypothetical ones. Wow, 50 managers. I don't think I could think of 50 managers off the top of my head. That's a lot of coaches. Narrowed it down to 4. What's the drew out conclusions? I mean, it's no surprise. The 3 conclusions there. Attractive football, tick Frank, developing younger players. I think that's a maybe tick Frank. Probably tick Frank, actually. And good communication skills with the media. I think it's probably yes as well. They were just 3 of the kind of 5 targets. But no, Hincapie would be a very good signing for Tottenham. One overall intent, but will he be happy to sit on the bench for some of the season when Romero and Van der Ven are fit? Because you can't really change Romero and Van der Ven. Or do you go to back 3? That's another thing. Frank won't have one set start 11, won't have one set formation, way of playing, and that's what I like about him. He adapts to each opponent. Goes well as a critical thinker as well. But as your daily Spurs news roundup, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below anything discussed in today's video, anything you agree or disagree with me on, any of the headlines and stories brought up, including, as I said there, my analysis. But thank you very much, and for now, come on, you Spurs.